how long do baits take to sink?
Does size of maggot make a difference? Does pressure of water make a difference?
Maggots falling through the water completely blew my mind.
It's interesting to know the rates of these baits.
Have I been doing it wrong? Yeah. One thing that's always interested me is how long do baits take to sink? We always assume, like I always assume in my head, I'll throw some maggots in, hold the rig up off bottom and then lower it in so my hook bait's falling in amongst the loose offerings. But is it?
We got the stopwatch out, we had a look at it and basically just tried to work out micros, hard pellets, maggots, how long it would take, and see if I could sort of piece together these little bits of the jigsaw as to why certain baits don't work in certain depths. I've always been led to believe that maggots take about 3.5 seconds per foot.
So we're just over 6 foot, so we should be looking at 20 seconds?
20 seconds roughly, but obviously when I throw them in the edge here, I'm thinking...
They look really slow, don't they?
They're a lot slower than I think, so does size of maggot make a difference? Does pressure of water make a difference being such a deep lake? Is there more water pressure or whatever? I don't know, but we'll find out. Let's have a little look. So
you tell me when.
As soon as they hit the water,
yeah,
I'm going to spread them over an area a little bit,
yeah,
just so you definitely see them coming down. And then the first time it hits the bottom, yeah?
Yep.
So let's see how long they take. And obviously we can see them underwater now.
You still see them now, can you?
I still think they're only like a foot and a bit deep.
They've been going they've been going 12 seconds, so they're definitely not going to get to the bottom in 6 foot.
No.
In anything like 20 seconds.
And I remember reading this.
Right, that's 20 seconds. So on that theory, they should have been down.
Yeah.
There's no sign of them at the moment. 30 seconds. Got to be coming in very, very
I think it's going to be twice as long as what I think.
37. Here they come.
So
to get to the bottom. 41 seconds.
And that's the quickest one. So
yeah,
twice as long.
Bear in mind, I should have let it go, but a lot of them aren't down yet.
No.
So you're looking at 50 seconds. Well, some of them still aren't down. You're looking between 4.
There's a big difference there, isn't there? Some are probably 15 seconds later than...
Yeah.
They're all down now.
You're looking at 40 to 55 seconds in just over 6 foot of water.
So the first bait we wanted to try was maggots, and judging by that, the first maggot hit the bottom after 41 seconds. The rest of the maggots were still falling in 50 odd seconds. So on average, per foot, they were taking about 7 to 9 seconds to hit the bottom. Now, there's good and bad things for this. If you're fishing in really deep water, and you'll probably find this, if you go to venues that are like 9, 10, 11 foot deep, you don't really catch kindering maggots in long on the bottom. Even in the winter, if you're F1 fishing, you still find that you can catch deep shallow on venues like that. It happens a lot in the colder months. You go to these really deep venues and the fish are off the bottom, and it's because they take that long to get down. If you're waiting a minute and a half just for your bait to get down, it's very time consuming. So I always think maggots stop working at about 7, 8 foot of water. This is only a general rule of mine, but it's because the bait takes too long to get to the bottom, and this sort of proves my theory now. The good thing about it though is that if you're trying to catch shallow, it gives them loads of time to see the bait. And one thing we've seen in particular today when we're filming this underwater is that fish love to watch bait falling, and that's what attracts them in.
Maggots falling through the water completely blew my mind. I always thought it was going to be like 15, 20 seconds. So like when I've been fishing in places like Tunnel Barn in 5 foot, I'd throw some maggots in, lift my rig out when I thought they were sort of halfway or 2/3 of the way down, and then lower my hook bait in with the loose offerings. The only problem is now the loose offerings were miles up in the water still. So have I been doing it wrong? Yeah, as in I've not been doing it how I think I was doing it, but it still has caught me loads of fish. But now I can sort of take that into my own fishing, maybe vary things a little bit more.
Should we test some micros?
Yeah, do some micros.
So I'm going to cup some micros in. Again, I'll put quite a bit in. I ain't got a clue what these will fall. Do you think these will fall quicker or slower?
Quicker?
I think a little bit quicker. So again,
they'll probably be slower.
When they start to when they hit the bottom.
Go on then.
They look like they've gone a lot quicker, I reckon. So what we're saying, about 7 to 8 seconds per foot for maggots?
Yeah. 17. Oh, they come. 20 seconds, the first ones are on the bottom.
So they're
halving the time of maggots. That's
and the
really...
last lot's probably come in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Still quite a big spread, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a big variance in...
If you go for the very first, I reckon you're looking at 20 to 30 seconds in 6 foot for some F1s are eating them on the way down. 20 to 30 seconds for micros, and you're looking at 40 seconds to a minute for maggots.
So micro pellets, they fell a little bit quicker, as expected, at a rate of around about 3 to 5 seconds per foot. But one thing that interests me is if you're fishing in 6 foot, sometimes you'll feed your bait and you'll get a bite, and thinking about it, your bait's not even got to the bottom yet. So I think the fish definitely respond to noise. I think it shows the importance of noise. How many times have you threw some bait at your float, like maggots for example, and your float goes under within 10 seconds? Well, your maggot's going to be way up there, but you still get a bite, and that happens with pellets sometimes. So it's interesting to know the rates of these baits, and then you can start to judge, like, hold on a minute, the bait's not even at the bottom and I've just still caught a fish. Like, it's all interesting stuff. Put some fours in.
Yeah. These should be quicker still, I reckon.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be that much quicker because obviously it's a bigger surface area, so it'll be interesting.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah. I won't stop it when they first hit, I'll just look at it, and then when the last one's hit.
Yeah, an odd one's still floating, so it's not too true.
Right, I'll just go with the first ones then.
Should have wet them down really.
First one, 14 seconds.
Yeah, and they're all falling in pretty quick.
A lot quicker.
22, 23, last one.
I'd say quicker than... So considering some floated.
14 seconds. If I soak them, let's just see if it makes any difference. So if I like degrease them almost, because this is what I do in my pole pot, thinking they'd fall a bit quicker.
Tell me when you're ready.
Now.
Same.
14, so it don't make a difference whether they're wet or dry.
No, whether wet or dry, you're looking at exactly the same.
So the fall rate of 4 mil pellets was a lot quicker. Around about 2.5 seconds per foot is the sort of speed they fell, which again, this shows you why they can be so good for pinning fish down. If fish were coming off the bottom on micros, 4 mils will get them down to the bottom. So again, there's pros and cons for fishing hard pellets compared to micros, compared to maggots. This is why all different baits have their own little unique thing where they draw fish in, but it can make them harder to catch. So what I mean by that is maggots fall really slow, but it could lead yourself to foul hooking them. Hard pellets sink really quick. They're great for pinning fish down, but do you get the attraction of the fish coming in your peg in the first place? And this is why certain venues, certain times of the year, different baits work, some baits don't.
What are you thinking now?
I'm going to pot micros in a little ball, but I'm going to use my pole cup because it's a lot more truer reaction than what. I just want to see if I can pot these on the spot. I think they'll twist off. There's an F1 feeding on them now, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of bait in the swim now.
I like to feed my micros loose for the fact that I think when you feed a ball...
Would you feed like that, how you doing now?
I don't like doing this for this reason. I don't think
it'll spin?
I think it'll spin and it won't end up where I think it ends up. And I'll try and be as accurate as possible with this. I'm not going to mess it up on purpose. So I'll look at my marker.
I'm not going to time it, just
want to see if that falls right on the spot.
Can you see it moving as it went down or not?
Yeah, it looks like it spins. It always looks like it spins in the first foot of... I'm expecting that to come smack in the middle of the shot.
Here we come, Richard.
I bet they come in loose.
I knew they would. They broke up.
They're not even a ball, are they?
No, broke up. Now, how tight did you squeeze that?
Pretty tight.
I'd say accuracy-wise, pretty much where the rest of your bait's been going.
Yeah.
But not a single completely unclumped.
Let me squeeze it harder, see if I can actually get it to the bottom in a ball. I had a feeling they'd come out. Like, I'm really squeezing that like a pellet cone. Do you think that'd get to the bottom?
Yeah, that's got...
You would think that would get to the bottom.
I'd say that's going to get to the bottom. It comes out the pot.
It comes out the pot. See, that looks like it's spinning off to the right.
To the right, yeah.
This might get to the bottom, but it's going to be off shot.
Doesn't help that. Oh, there it is.
No,
Got to the bottom though. It wasn't far out either. There it is, bottom right. Yeah, hasn't even started breaking down yet.
That got to the bottom in a ball though, didn't it?
Yeah. Didn't just see if a fish tries to eat that, like a big ball of paste.
See, I wouldn't normally squeeze it that hard though. I would squeeze it like this, so I'm going to do what I would normally do. I reckon they're just breaking up.
Yeah, but obviously if they break up halfway down, you're still getting quite a tight baited area.
Yeah. Just make sure it's not too big for the pot. So I haven't squeezed it to an absolute maximum, but I would expect this to get to the bottom, and after looking at that, I don't think it's gonna. I think it's going to break up.
This is how you normally do it.
Yeah, but I don't like doing it for this reason.
Now that looks like it went right.
Yeah, it looks like it went right, but I reckon these might come in.
You know,
loose.
as it's falling, it's spooking the F1s. Oh, there it is. Pretty good. And it's that boat just on impact, pretty much.
Just on impact.
Yeah.
There's a few falling.
Yeah, a few fell out, but pretty good overall.
It's not terrible presentation,
no,
is it?
I think the balls and micros was really interesting on the back of you can achieve different presentations. Obviously, moulding them like a rock took quite a long time to break down. When Andy did it as he would normally do it, he lost a few on the way down, which I think's good, but got the bulk of them to the bottom, and they literally exploded on impact, which to me, that was perfect. Because I think losing a few on the way down, same when you're fishing a hybrid feeder, losing a few on the way, I think that's really good. You get a little bit more spread, a few pellets falling through the water, but the bulk of the pellets land exactly where you want them, so you can pin those fish.
So when I first sort of fed balls of micros, I thought the ball would spin off and my accuracy wouldn't be the best. I have to admit I'm quite wrong. The first one, they all come down loose because I didn't squeeze it really tight, so I think that's very important. It shows how much water pressure or whatever it is, just the water getting into the micros can open a ball of pellets up, and I think that plays into all your fishing. You know, when you're squeezing a method feeder or a hybrid, you think you've squeezed it too hard. We've seen it in the past. The water gets in, it starts to attack them pellets and they open up really easily. So you've got to squeeze your ball really hard to get it to go to the bottom. And the accuracy was a lot better than I thought, so I was quite impressed with that. One broke up on impact, one broke up before it got to the bottom, but if I squeezed it as hard as I possibly could, I could get it to the bottom. And they was all pretty much in the same area as what I wanted to get it in. So yeah, I'm a little bit wrong. I still don't think I would use it in my fishing that often. Maybe I was fishing in really deep water and I wanted to feed micros and, you know, maybe skimmer fishing in the winter, that's when it could play a part. But in my F1 fishing, if I was feeding micros, I want them to come in loose. I want that attraction of the bait coming in. I don't want a little ball going straight to the bottom, but it did surprise me at how hard you had to squeeze them to get that presentation.